Mariah talks about Ellen, Derek Jeter, and so much more in a new interview with New York Magazine. We have to talk about it. Hey kids, Treacle here and welcome back to my channel. So last night, New York Magazine revealed Mariah as its cover star for its latest issue, and there is a new article featuring a new interview contained in the magazine. It's an in-depth interview, loads of tea about the memoir was spilled, and we're going to get into that. But first of all, let's talk briefly about the cover of the magazine. This seems to be splitting people, it seems to be dividing people. It is not your traditional glamour shot of Mariah that we are used to. I don't know if it was taken that night, the same night as the interview, or a different time. I don't know where this photo has come from. It's recent, it looks like, but also it looks really, really raw. And this is where people maybe have some issue with it. Not issue, I think some people just don't think it's very flattering, and I agree, it's not as flattering as full-on glam diva Mariah, but I was hoping for moments like this with the memoir, because she is stripping away layers, she's removing walls, she's inviting us as readers and fans and followers to get to know her more. So I like the idea of having some photos that are more unfiltered. You can see she's not wearing much makeup at all. It's not her usual angle, usual pose. I think it's got a natural beauty to it. It was interesting to see people compare this cover to a cover of the same magazine way back at the start of her career and draw some parallels between those two photos. People also did a side-by-side on social media with her first album cover, so going all the way back 30 years. And I love the photo even more when I saw it in these ways, to see Mariah in 1990 and this new photo now in 2020. And maybe that was a deliberate vibe they were going for with the photo, I don't know, but I really do enjoy the photo, and especially when it gets put side by side with some original photos from, you know, back in the day. We also get a couple of other new photos of Mariah with this article. So here she is looking gorgeous in all of these photos. That's my opinion, I love them. It sounds like Mariah and the interviewer were set up outside, get all comfy, and they went in for a deep, meaningful conversation, a good old DMC. They covered many topics, and let's jump in. First up, it sounds like Eminem can relax. I don't think he's going to be covered in the book. There have been headlines recently that maybe he's getting a little nervous because of the beef and the history they've had going back to 2001, whenever it started. Is Mariah going to talk about him in her memoir? Apparently not. I love this quote from Mariah that appeared in the interview. She said, "If somebody or something didn't pertain to the actual meaning of Mariah Carey, as is the title, then they aren't in the book." I love that. If you are not contributing to the person that I am, you don't mean anything. You're not worthy of being in the book. I love that. I think there's a list of people that we know are going to be in the book, and there's a list of people where it would be more like salacious gossip, and does she really need to go on record in her memoir? I'm all about this. Save precious pages, save that space for people who really do count. I'm not mad about it. Eminem isn't making the memoir. That's fine. We've got more important topics and more important people to discuss. Lots of us were hoping and assuming that we would hear Mariah speak about Derek Jeter and their brief romance in her memoir, knowing that, well, not knowing, but assuming in the past that some of her songs have been based on that little dalliance. I think it was a safe bet, and it's pretty much confirmed now at this point. There's another quote from the interview that I really enjoyed. The article reads, "The knowledge that this stuff is already out there made it easier for Carey to write the memoir. It removed the burden of dropping bombshells, though there are some, and instead lets her just confirm, contextualize, and detail things from her point of view, like how she and Jeter met at a dinner party and started text flirting secretly while she was at the end of her marriage to Mottola. Knowing that fans already suspected the song The Roof was about her first meeting with him made it easier for her." This is getting me really excited. I was hoping we were going to get stories behind the songs. The Roof, we kind of knew, or we really felt that we knew it was about Derek, and it's pretty much confirmed. Now, interestingly, on social media, very recently, just a few days ago, Mariah posted a short lyric video to The Roof, so you can read along, you can read the story, and she's there saying It's exactly what happened. So I love the fact that she's already through social media starting to shed light on some of these things, and I can't wait to read about it more in the book. A few weeks ago, I posted a video called 10 Things I Want from Mariah's Memoir. And on that list, of course, was the truth about Tommy. We need to hear Mariah talk about Tommy Mottola in her memoir, and she is going to. A quote from the article reads, "Her anxiety around Mottola just sits under the surface. She writes candidly about the security cameras she says were always watching her and the security team she felt was reporting her every move." This is what we kind of expected Mariah to feel, that she was always being watched and things were being reported back. She's kind of alluded to this and given us like short little snippets and things, but I want her to expand now. I want her to really kind of qualify all of these things. So I wonder what kind of stories we're going to get to back this up. About Tommy, Mariah says in the article, "I could have gone harder and I didn't. I give him credit where credit is due." So I think that's fair. She's not going to completely drag him. She's a classy lady. She's going to keep it classy. She's going to be honest. She's going to tell us what we need to know. But I think she's maybe not going all the way in. So I think that's a smart move, because if he moans, if he's not happy, well, I could have said more. I could have done worse. So I think it's sensible to hold like a little bit back. It sounds like we're going to have quite a lot from Mariah's childhood in this book, and in this interview she did briefly mention her brother Morgan and her sister Alison. Now, I haven't heard her speak about them for ages. I am fully expecting her to cover them in the memoir, so now just a few weeks ahead of the memoir coming out, it just gets me excited to hear her start to talk about these people and subjects that she hasn't in so long. Quote from Mariah in this interview, "They have been ruthlessly just heartless in terms of dealing with me as a human being for most of my life. I never would have spoken about my family at all had they not done it first." Anyone having family members that they don't get on with, it's difficult to talk about. To talk about your personal life on a public forum anyway is difficult. But when there's so many stories, and Morgan has said things and Alison has said things, and Mariah for the most part has kept quiet. So I think it's going to be about time that she has her say in her book and sets the record straight. When asked if she could ever picture reconciling with her brother and sister, Mariah was quoted as saying, "I have forgiveness in my heart and so I forgive them, but I am not trying to invite anybody to come hang out over here. I think they're very broken and I feel sad for them." Now, one topic that came up in the interview that I wasn't expecting was the subject of Ellen DeGeneres. So we all know what is going on right now. Ellen has been dragged through the media. There are former employees and also some celebrities coming out and saying that Ellen can be a bit mean. There's a toxic work atmosphere on set, and working for her is like this. It makes me feel like that. And then it's getting really, really ugly. It's not a good year for Ellen. I haven't really followed the story religiously. I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm not really sure what my personal opinion is. But what's been interesting in the Lamb Land is that Mariah kind of got brought into this because an old clip resurfaced. The clip that has been doing the rounds is from Mariah's 2008 appearance on The Ellen Show, where, if you remember, Ellen was trying to force Mariah's hand to confirm or not whether she was pregnant. Mariah clearly didn't want to play along, but she handled it very gracefully, but still it made for rather uncomfortable viewing.
The other thing is that people are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne and decide.
But they've been saying that since we. I can have some champagne. It's just fattening. So,
you can't have champagne.
That's not champagne because you can't.
No, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. You want to taste it?
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? No.
Are you trying?
I'm not going to ask you if you're pregnant or
This
not.
is peer pressure. You see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
No. Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. Why would we toast to that? How about to the future?
Yeah. You can
and for both of our futures, who knows what they hold?
Who knows? All right, go ahead.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
It's too early for me. I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
No, you are pregnant.
Now, years later, the clip has popped back up again as an example of the type of behavior that people are not happy with from Ellen. We also know that around this time, Mariah did actually suffer a miscarriage. It really is just uncomfortable viewing and trying to push any woman to talk about whether they're pregnant or not, especially early on. You don't know what's going on with their health. It's a very personal thing. I wasn't really impressed at the time, and then we find out that Mariah did have a miscarriage. I was mad at Ellen. It was tacky. It wasn't cool, Ellen. It wasn't cool. In the New York Magazine interview, Mariah says, and I quote, "I was extremely uncomfortable with that moment, is all I can say. And I really have had a hard time grappling with the aftermath. I wasn't ready to tell anyone because I had had a miscarriage. I don't want to throw anyone that's already been thrown under any proverbial bus, but I didn't enjoy that moment." I don't think she was planning on bringing it up at all, but the moment did come up and we did finally get a quote, and we have Mariah on record saying that, yeah, it wasn't cool. A couple of other things also came up in the interview. It sounds like Mariah's not going to talk about her bipolar disorder diagnosis. She is going to talk about glitter, that whole era, in detail, it sounds like from reading the interview. But she did go on record in the interview and say she's not really going to talk about the whole bipolar thing. We know that in 2001, we know this now, that is when she was diagnosed. That kind of ties in and fits in with everything that was going on, all the struggles she was publicly going through. But she doesn't want to talk about her actual medical diagnosis. And one thing that I found very interesting, it sounds like Mariah is going to sing outside in the Audible version. Now, of course, this could just be a song insert. She could reference the song outside and they put a bit in as a clip. I'm gonna hedge a bet and actually go beyond that. I'm going to say that I hope, maybe if I just put it out to the universe, it will come true, but I'm going to hope that she actually sings us a couple of lines. So she's been sat recording the book, and if she gets to a song, just do it, Mariah. Just give us a couple of lines a cappella. So I don't know if it's going to be a song insert or whether she's actually going to sing it. We'll have to wait and find out. But we can expect to hear outside sung in some capacity. As I said, this New York Magazine article is a long one. It's a fantastic interview. It really does set the memoir up well. It got me really excited. I already know what I want from the book, and I've already got a good idea of what I think is going to be covered, but it still got me really excited. It's a long interview, it's a long article, but it's well worth the read, and these were my highlights from it. I hope you found that interesting. Leave a comment below and let me know if there are any surprises or anything that you're really hoping we get from the book. Remember to hit the like button and please subscribe. I will see you again very, very soon for another video. Cheers, thanks a lot.